Welcome to Empress News. Here's a recap featuring the full news stories published on this channel this week. All reports are based on verified information available at the time of publication. 30 suspected human trafficking victims intercepted at Tambo Airport in festive season operation. The Border Management Authority has intercepted 30 foreign nationals at Tambo International Airport in what authorities believe may be a human trafficking and visa fraud operation. The interceptions took place on Thursday, 11 December 2025, as part of intensified festive season border security. In the first case, 14 Ethiopian nationals, 9 women and 5 men, were stopped shortly after landing on an international flight. Advanced passenger data and behavioral profiling flagged their travel patterns as suspicious. According to officials, the group's movements matched methods often used by trafficking syndicates, where South Africa is used as a transit point before individuals are moved onward or returned through irregular channels. All 14 were taken aside for further processing by immigration officers. In a separate incident later that day, 16 Bangladeshi men were intercepted after officers noticed them attempting to blend in with local travelers. Further checks showed they were carrying fraudulent visas, and their stated purpose of travel did not match legitimate tourism, business, or other lawful entry reasons. The group was referred for investigation, and their documentation was seized. Officials said the airline responsible for transporting the travelers will face administrative fines, which is standard when carriers bring in passengers who do not meet entry requirements. Authorities also confirmed that once investigations are completed, the intercepted individuals will be deported to their respective countries of origin. This latest operation follows several trafficking-related incidents at Tambo over the past months. In November, police assisted by international partners rescued 3 young women from Botswana who had been lured through social media and were intercepted while transiting through the same airport. That case highlighted how major transport hubs are increasingly used by criminal networks to move victims across borders. The Border Management Authority says it will maintain heightened security throughout the festive period, with a focus on intelligence-driven profiling, visa fraud detection, and coordination with international partners. Authorities have urged the public and the aviation sector to remain vigilant and to report suspicious travel activity. Thoughts on this? This interception shows that South Africa's Border Management Authority is becoming more proactive and better equipped at identifying patterns linked to human trafficking and visa fraud. The use of advanced passenger data, behavioral profiling, and more coordinated intelligence suggests that the systems in place are improving, especially at Tambo, which is one of the busiest and most vulnerable points of entry on the continent. What stands out is that these incidents usually don't happen in isolation. The fact that similar cases involving fraudulent visas, irregular migration, and suspected trafficking occurred just weeks before shows a consistent pattern. Trafficking networks and intermediaries see South Africa as a convenient transit or entry point. This is partly because of the country's large airports, high passenger volumes, and the complex migration routes running through East Africa and Asia. The case also highlights 2 ongoing challenges. Trafficking victims rarely appear as victims. They often travel willingly, with forged documents, or under the belief that they are heading toward legitimate work opportunities. That makes detection much harder and puts pressure on border officials. Airlines continue transporting passengers with questionable documentation. While fines are routine, the fact that it keeps happening indicates vulnerabilities in pre-boarding checks in foreign airports. Overall, it's a positive sign that authorities intercepted these groups before they could disappear into the country or be moved onwards. But it also shows how active and adaptable trafficking networks remain, especially during festive season travel when airports are at their busiest. Home Affairs proposes tighter asylum rules and merit-based citizenship system. The Department of Home Affairs has proposed sweeping changes to South Africa's asylum, immigration, and citizenship framework, marking what officials describe as one of the most significant policy overhauls in decades. The proposals are contained in a draft revised white paper on citizenship, immigration, and refugee protection, which was published for public comment this week. Home Affairs Minister Leon Schreiber said the proposed reforms are aimed at strengthening national security, reducing fraud and abuse within the system, and improving the overall management of migration and citizenship processes. The department has argued that the current framework is outdated and no longer fit for purpose in addressing modern migration realities. One of the most notable proposed changes relates to asylum policy. The draft white paper introduces the first safe country principle, which would disqualify asylum seekers who have already received protection in another country or who passed through safe countries before arriving in South Africa from applying for asylum locally. According to the department, this measure is intended to prevent the misuse of the asylum system by individuals who are not in immediate need of protection. The proposals also introduce a shift toward a merit-based approach to citizenship. Under the new system, citizenship would no longer be determined primarily by the length of time a person has lived in South Africa. Instead, applications for naturalization would be assessed using a set of defined criteria, with a citizenship advisory panel playing a role in evaluating applications. A points-based system is proposed for certain economic pathways to citizenship, similar to those used in countries such as Canada and Australia. To address long-standing administrative backlogs, the white paper suggests that citizenship applications should only be accepted during an annual application window. The department believes this will allow for more predictable processing and improved service delivery. Existing rules regarding children born to South African citizens would remain unchanged, meaning a child with at least one South African parent would still automatically qualify for citizenship. Children born to non-citizen parents would continue to apply for naturalization under the revised criteria. The draft policy also builds on recent visa reforms by proposing merit-based point systems for certain visas and permanent residency permits. These measures are intended to attract skilled professionals, entrepreneurs, remote workers, and other individuals deemed capable of contributing to economic growth. In addition, the white paper outlines plans to reform civil registration systems and lays the groundwork for a future digital identity system to improve the accuracy and efficiency of population records. The Department of Home Affairs has opened the draft white paper for public comment until the end of January 2026 and has scheduled consultation sessions across all 9 provinces. The department has encouraged members of the public, civil society organizations, and business groups to participate in the consultation process before the policy is finalized. RAF blows millions on dodgy call center deal. The Road Accident Fund is facing renewed scrutiny after revelations that it spent nearly 300 million rand on an outsourced call center contract awarded under questionable circumstances. The fund previously operated its own internal call center at an annual cost of about 25 million rand. Despite reported improvements in performance and customer response times, the in-house operation was shut down and replaced with an external service provider. Over a period of just more than a year, payments to the outsourced company totaled close to 200 million rand. A further contract extension pushed the overall value to almost 300 million rand. The deal has raised serious concerns because it was allegedly awarded without a competitive tender process. Internal documents suggest the agreement was rushed through using emergency procurement provisions, with some approvals reportedly completed within a single day. Sources inside the Road Accident Fund dispute claims that the internal call center was failing, saying performance indicators showed steady improvement before it was closed. They also allege that plans to modernize the in-house system were blocked, only for similar services to be outsourced at significantly higher cost. Complaints have since emerged from claimants and legal practitioners about unanswered calls, poor service, and inconsistent information under the outsourced model. The fallout has been swift. Several senior executives have been placed on precautionary suspension, and the contract has been referred for criminal investigation. The controversy adds to a growing list of governance and financial management concerns at the Road Accident Fund, which is funded by a fuel levy and is meant to compensate victims of road accidents. As investigations continue, pressure is mounting for accountability, transparency, and reforms to ensure public money is spent responsibly and that victims receive the service they depend on. Warwick DJ Wara's Stock, a well-known South African radio and television personality, was shot dead in Johannesburg's Central Business District on Tuesday, 16 December 2025. Stock, aged 40, was approached by assailants after parking his vehicle and was struck multiple times. Police have opened a murder investigation, and a manhunt for the suspects is underway. Warwick Stock, widely known on air as DJ Wara's and sometimes called the Shady Lurker, built a near 2-decade career in South African media. He first rose to prominence on YFM, later presented on 5FM, and was a TV presenter on SABC1's Live Amp. In recent years, he also hosted the local reality show Ngisli Visa and co-hosted the Shady P podcast. He was known for mentoring younger talent and for outspoken commentary on crime and community safety. Reports from reputable local outlets state Stock was born in Durban on 27 November 1985 and had recently turned 40. He moved to Johannesburg as a teenager and is survived by his 3 young sons, his mother, and siblings. The Stock family has issued statements asking for privacy and urging the public to avoid speculation while police investigate. Multiple mainstream news outlets and police sources say Stock was shot on the corner of Van Wielig and Commissioner Street, opposite the Carlton Center in the Joburg CBD area, after parking his vehicle on Tuesday, 16 December 2025. Witness and CCTV reporting indicate he was approached by more than one person. He was shot multiple times and later pronounced dead. Forensic teams recovered cartridges at the scene, and investigators are examining CCTV footage that captured the suspects fleeing on foot. No arrests had been announced in the immediate aftermath of the killing. In the days and weeks before his death, Stock had been involved in work to audit and secure a hijacked building in the inner city, reported as Zambesi House in multiple outlets. During an inspection and security audit, his team reportedly discovered alleged illegal activities within the building, including an alleged brothel and what witnesses described as drug manufacturing paraphernalia. According to family, friends, and officials, Stock had applied for protection orders against several individuals linked to that building after receiving threats. Johannesburg's MMC for Public Safety, Dr. MG Sinitiasa Chwaku, told broadcasters Stock had obtained protection orders against 5 people and that those orders were part of the investigation. City officials and civil society figures have said Stock had been doing private security and building recovery work, activity that some believe put him in conflict with criminal networks operating in hijacked inner-city properties. Local authorities have said they will question people named in the protection orders as part of the probe. Police response and ongoing probe. Gauteng police confirmed a murder docket was opened and investigators recovered cartridges at the scene. They are analyzing CCTV footage that captured the suspected shooters. Johannesburg authorities, including the MMC for Public Safety, have urged anyone with information to come forward and called on people connected to Stock's security work, including a reported associate named Innocent, to assist the investigation. Political parties and civic leaders, including the ANC, have called for the probe to be treated as a priority. Broadcasters and several news outlets report police believe the killing may have been a targeted hit related to escalating disputes around hijacked buildings in the inner city. However, police have not publicly confirmed a motive and say the investigation remains ongoing. Authorities have also confirmed they have video footage of the suspects, but at the time of reporting, no public arrest announcement had been made. Tributes poured in from colleagues, media personalities, and public figures. Family members described Stock as the heart and anchor of their family. Friends and fans recalled his warmth, humor, and commitment to mentoring younger broadcasters. Johannesburg residents and officials expressed shock and renewed concern about crime in the city center.
For these and more news, stay tuned to Empress News, where we drop it like it's hot. Don't forget to like and subscribe.